to Market on Close. I'm Marley, Kayden here in Chicago alongside Sam Vadas at the New York Stock Exchange. We've got some final thoughts on today's session to close the show, as we always do. For me, the U.S. government shutdown now officially the longest in history, stretching into its 36th day and pushing economic uncertainty into overdrive. With millions of federal workers furloughed and working without pay, the ripple effects are hitting everything from air travel to food stamp programs. The impasse also hampering the release of key economic data just when investors and policymakers need it most. We did, however, get ADP data showing private sector payrolls posted an increase of 42,000. This was well above the forecast for 22,000 and a strong reversal from the loss of 29,000 we saw in September. In response, we saw the 10-year yield jump, then move another leg higher when the Supreme Court justices signaled they may be skeptical about the legality of President Trump's tariffs. If the court rules against the administration, the White House may be forced to then return money it's already collected. If that happens, it could send Treasury yields even higher and prices lower. The 10-year surged more than 6 basis points to just under 416 today. Sam, how about you? What caught your eye during the session today?
Well, memory names rallied today. Seagate and Micron were two of the best performers on the S&P 500. Western Digital hitting a new high as well. Now, these companies have really been on a roll lately as we've seen these massive investments in AI data centers, which need a lot of memory. They need a lot of storage like HBM and DRAM. So these companies cashing in on the huge need for all of that. This has led to tightened supply and higher prices, which these names have been benefiting from. And part of the reason why analysts have been turning more bullish. Now, Western Digital is up over 250% year to date. Micron is up nearly 200%. And this move today is notable because these high-flying names got smoked yesterday after a warning from the Korean exchange. Remember, I told you about that yesterday after SK Hynix's recent big moves. Like today, there was a report that the company, which supplies to NVIDIA, is raising its HBM4 prices over 50%. Now, airline stocks were also flying high today. United Airlines was up over 7%. American Airlines up over 6%. Delta up over 5%. This comes as the government shutdown, as you mentioned, stretches into its longest in history. All three companies have been calling on Congress to reopen the government. The rally also comes off the back of the pair of better than expected data prints. As I mentioned, the ADP and the ISM services. And we also got Allegiant Travel up 25% off the back of raising its guidance. So perhaps we're seeing these airlines up in sympathy. But heading into tomorrow, what will you be looking out for, Marley?
Earnings, lots of earnings. One in particular, Warner Brothers Discovery. They report tomorrow morning. Revenue expected to decline 4.2% year over year to $9.22 billion, expecting a loss of 4 cents per share. But that's of less interest to me, the actual numbers, as opposed to the media giant being openly for sale. They reportedly intend to publicly announce their plans toward the middle or end of December. They've given no hints as to whether they'll split the company in two or sell some assets or sell the entire company. That could likely be in focus on the call tomorrow. Paramount Skydance, however, has sent multiple letters to the board explaining why its $23.50 per share offer for the whole business, quote, delivers superior value to shareholders than splitting the company does. So I'll be very curious to hear any commentary about the sale of that business, as it's been clearly in focus for us. But after the close, we'll hear from the Trade Desk, DraftKings, Airbnb, Block. That's just to name a few. So another big earnings slate tomorrow. How about you, Sam?
Keeping us busy. Well, tomorrow is the day that some investors had circled on their calendars for a while now, Tesla's annual shareholder meeting. And this stock has been on a wild ride, a 52-week low of $214 from a high of almost $500 and then back up again. Now, there have been obviously tariff worries, China concerns, frustrations over Musk's political ambitions and slower EV demand. So this meeting is being described as one of the most important days in the company's history. And that is because shareholders, as part of this, will also be voting on a compensation plan for Elon Musk, which could be worth $1 trillion if he meets those ambitious market cap and operational goals. Now, Norway's Sovereign Wealth Fund has already announced its vote against that. But we'll also hear from a number of Fed speakers tomorrow, including Williams, Barr, Waller, Musalem. We know that there is a divided Fed. We got that from the meeting last week. That was on full display with a dissent in both directions. So the markets will be paying a lot of attention to what some of these committee members have to say, given a lack of government data at the moment. So we'll be passing over the earnings, a lot of Fed speak, and certainly keeping our eyes on Tesla tomorrow, Marley.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and we saw a good day. Things returned. We saw names like AMD and some others in the chip space. rebound after we saw some valuation concerns in the prior day. But a good day overall. But that's going to do it for us here on Market on Close.